Hi, everyone, and welcome. I'm Brady Fulton, Executive Director of Enabling Technology Solutions, and I just want to start by saying thank you so much for joining us today for another Enabling Tech Talk. Whether you're here as a professional, a caregiver, or someone exploring tech for yourself or a loved one, you're in the right place. If this is your first time with us, these Enabling Tech Talks are part of an ongoing series we host to spotlight real-world technology solutions that support independence, safety, and dignity, especially for folks navigating disability or aging-related changes. Our goal is simple: to share tools, spark ideas, and create a space for learning and discussion around enabling technology. Today's session focuses on tools for vision loss, and I'm especially excited about this one. We'll be talking about practical devices that can make a real difference for people with low vision. From reading printed materials to navigating daily tasks like their bills or junk mail, this will give them more confidence. I'm thrilled to be joined today by my colleagues, Evan Smith and Ezra Reynolds, as well as joined by special guest Cheryl Saucier from LVI America, and also the president of Mountain View Low Vision Services. She'll be showing us 3 innovative devices designed specifically for this community. The MagniLink One, the MagniLink Mini, and the MagniLink Voice, and then we'll also get a special extra device as well, I believe. So we'll have time throughout to ask questions, so don't be shy. Evan, Ezra, and myself will be asking them as well. And with that, Ezra, you want to give us some context?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Brady. Every year after 40, your eyes naturally start losing their elasticity. They start degrading in terms of how much light you need to be able to read things. And as you age, there's all sorts of different eye diseases and conditions that arise, like glaucoma, diabetic retinopathy, macular degeneration, cataracts. All of these different conditions decrease your vision. They decrease your ability to read. And if you can't read very well, that's a disability, because everything is print. You get a bill, it's print. You get your statement saying you're going to be, they're going to turn off your power, or they're going to take away your Social Security, or whatever the thing is. It comes in a letter in the mail, and you need to be able to read that. And there is a huge amount of things that if you cannot access the print, you're in a world of pain and misery because of that. So there's all sorts of devices that can magnify. You can get a lot of magnifiers on your cell phone or on a tablet that can enlarge the print. A lot of magnifiers also can adjust the color. So or on an individual basis, one person might need white letters on a black background, or red letters on a white background. But your bill or the flyer you got in the mail isn't printed that way. It's printed on black and white. So there's a lot of the magnifiers that are out there now can actually switch those colors around so you can make it how you need it to be. We have the president of Mountain View Low Vision, Cheryl Saucier. She is here today to show us some of her devices that can help with low vision.
Thank you, Ezra. Hello, everybody. I am by trade what's called a low vision therapist. So my training is knowing about vision loss and understanding the different diagnoses and how they impact your ability to see the world. And for over 30 years, I've been helping people with vision loss in a lot of different capacities, including having some years working with Ezra. So Ezra and I worked together at Signal Centers for some time, and I've done some partnering with Brady. So just getting to know Evan, and I'm delighted to be here and share some information with you. I want to go over some basics of assistive technology devices that can help you when you've got some level of vision impairment. And I've got 4 devices that I'd like to show today. And I want to start with this device here. This device is what we broadly call a video magnifier. So in simplest terms, it has a camera, and then it has a screen, and it has some other features that will, as Ezra talked about, let you pick the right setting so that you can see pictures, bills, food packages, things like that. So Ezra was talking about if you have a bill, so I have my, it's probably late, but we'll see. I have my utility bill. And if I am looking at it, there's a lot of information on here, different colors, different sizes. And so for people that have macular degeneration, diabetic retinopathy, glaucoma, doing something as simple as getting the amount of what you need to pay and when you need to pay it, where you need to mail it can be tricky. So with a device like this, you can put your bill on this reading table. And then there are some knobs and buttons. So I'm just going to turn up this knob and you can see it's just making it bigger and bigger. And I can even make it bigger. And as Ezra was saying, you can also make some adjustments this way and change the contrast. So a lot of people find if you have a brighter background and darker letters, it's easier to see. Or the reverse of that, if you have a nice dark background and bright white letters, it's easier to see. This one, you can even make it bigger, bigger, bigger. So then you can see how much you owe. So this is one example of how you would use a device like this to go through your mail and to find out what's junk mail, what's important mail, how much the amounts of your bills are, etc. Another thing that people love to use these for would be to view photographs. Seeing faces, seeing your loved ones, that's an important thing for a lot of people. So this device also is really helpful to be able to see photographs. This is actually a photograph of my dad and his sweetheart back in college days. So if I want to go back and kind of be able to see that a little bit better, you can see this may be the normal size of it, but then you can really zoom in on their faces and be able to see your loved ones. And that's really an important thing for some people. Also, food packaging is important. So if you have something that you'd like to microwave, food packaging has all different kinds of colors and fonts and locations of where the instructions are, and it becomes difficult to figure out where that information is so that you can be able to read it. If you put your, first of all, we put our package under here. Well, now we know this is, we know what kind of rice we have. So it's Uncle Ben's rice, but which kind of Uncle Ben's rice? So we have coconut jasmine. Then you can turn the package over and move it around a little bit and increase the magnification. And here's our information of how to cook, but that's still difficult to read because of that orange background and the white letters. It's not really great contrast. So if you make an adjustment, change some things around a little bit, that may pop out a little bit more for people and become easier to see.
Cheryl, I got a question for you.
Sure.
So I see that you're moving that tray around, but you can also slide the package on the tray. Is that
Correct.
What is that feature, and you know, does that affect the cost? Obviously, is that something? Is that an option or is that mandatory?
That is an option, and that's a great question, Brady. So this is called a reading table or an XY table, and it is important, especially if you are reading a book, and you need to just move things side to side without a lot of wiggle. So this is just going to move it straight across if you're doing an awful lot of reading. If, however, you are just needing to do what I would call spot reading and just have a quick peek, that's how I need to cook that. You may not need to move it around the table around as much, and you might be fine just moving the object around. And yes, that impacts the cost. So one way that we help people determine what device is best for them is to figure out what's important. And for some people, price is going to be really important. So they're going to say, I would rather have the least amount of bells and whistles to impact the price. So the price would be less if you had this not on there and more if you have this on there. So without this, it is $25.95, $2,595. With this, it is $2,995. So it, again, it just depends on what your value, what do you find most important? Price point, features, and that differs from everybody.
Thank you.
If you're using the XY table, you don't accidentally get the paper.
Is that Ezra? You don't actually get
Ezra
get what?
froze. Ezra froze a little bit. So I think what he's saying is you don't actually, it helps with tracking. So you don't accidentally move the paper down a line and kind of lose track of where you are. So Ezra, you froze for a minute. Is that what you were kind of talking about? Yep. Okay. The other thing that people have a hard time with when they lose their vision that these devices can help with is actually writing. So we hear a lot about writing checks or writing grocery lists or things like that. So you can take a pad of paper and put it under the device. And it takes a little bit of learning because we're used to connecting our eyes with looking down at what we're writing. So that's kind of the hand-eye coordination, the what we're used to, what our brains have been doing for a long time. So instead of doing that, you would need to get used to finding your pen under here and then looking up at the screen while you're doing some writing. So what that might look like is, so instead of looking down at the paper, I'm looking up at the screen. And that just takes practice. And I think that's one thing that enabling technology solutions is great about. It's not only the device, but making sure you understand how to use it to its fullest capacity. So this is version A, we'll call it. This is called the MagniLink One. It's a very simple device. It just has a few buttons. You have an on-off button. You have a bigger, smaller button. You have these two buttons that change color combinations. And then you have this one that just makes it brighter and dimmer. That's all. Very simple device to use. And it really makes a major, major difference for people to have something like this, to be able to go through their mail, to be able to write their own checks, to be able to check their food packages, those sorts of things. Another similar device, so it does the same thing, but just in a different way. So this one is actually called the MagniLink S. And this one, you can connect it to different things. So I'm going to talk about the MagniLink S. This device is kind of the original of this kind of product. Our company is just now releasing a brand new one that I'm going to call the baby sister of the MagniLink S. That's called the MagniLink Mini. I'll show you a picture of the MagniLink Mini in a minute. It does exactly the same thing as this one, but it's just smaller, not quite as many bells and whistles, and has a much better price point, a much better cost. So this device, you would connect it with something you already have. So you might connect it with a monitor that you already have. If you have a computer, you might connect it to your computer. So you don't have to have something big on your desk. You have something smaller that connects to something you already have. And what I have it connected to today is an iPad. So this is a regular iPad. It's not special iPad. It does have to have a certain strength to it. So, you know, if you buy an iPad or if you are recommended to get an iPad, there are different strengths and different memory capacities and things like that. So it does have to have some particular processor and particular memory, those sorts of things, but it's just an iPad. And so I have on the iPad the app that you can download for free, and the app works you get all the features of the app when it's connected to the camera. Okay. So again, we'll take my bill and put my bill under this camera, and now you can see it pop up on that iPad. You can see it here on the iPad. And there are some things that this one will do that the MagniLink One will not do. So in other words, a lot of people are hearing a lot about AI, so artificial intelligence, and some people are scared by it, some people are thrilled by it, and I think I'm right there in the middle. So some things are scary, some things are exciting. And there's some really exciting things for people with vision loss. So if you think about this bill, there are a lot of different characters and numbers and codes and words. And if you put it under something like, the MagniLink One, then you're going to have, you have to move it around a lot and try to figure out different things and what all the numbers mean. There's a feature on this one that's kind of interesting, and it's called AI, right? So, but the way that you would use it here, if I push the AI button, now I'm just going to ask it a question about the bill. So I'm going to ask it, how much do I owe?
Based on the Hickson Utility District bill, the net payment due by June 7, 2025 is $78.60. The gross
Wow.
payment due by the final due date of June.
So
That's
not
awesome.
only do I have a device that I can magnify things, so all the things I just showed you a little while ago, I can magnify this bill. I can do the same thing that I did with the MagniLink One. I can change the contrast for this bill. I can make it bigger. I can make it, bigger. I can change the same thing I could do over there. I can change the brightness. I can increase and decrease the brightness. So I can do all of the same things, but now I have this added capability, that AI feature. And a lot of times you can call it your own like artificial assistant. So it's like having technology that you can just ask natural questions to about the content that you are looking at. Yes, Evan?
Is it required to be hooked up to Wi-Fi to utilize the AI properties?
Yes, it is. Great question. Yes, it is.
And you had mentioned earlier, one more thing, Cheryl, you had mentioned hooking it up to like a monitor previously. Is that, so I would consider what you've got it hooked up to right now like a smart device, but are you saying you could also hook it up to like a dumb device, like just like a TV or a existing monitor?
That's a very good question. So the answer is different for the two products that, not the MagniLink One, but the MagniLink S.
Yeah.
The MagniLink S, the original one, you can connect that to a dumb device. When you connect it to a dumb device or just a regular monitor, the features you're going to get there, bigger, smaller, change in contrast, that's all. So
Okay.
the dumb device, if it doesn't have a brain like a smartphone or a tablet
Yep.
or a computer, then you're not going to be able to do some of the more, we'll call them advanced. They're easy to use, but they're more advanced features.
And you would
So the
control.
MagniLink Mini is only going to be able to connect to either an iPad or a PC. It is not going to be able to connect to a monitor.
So if you're connecting to a monitor, you're limited by the device buttons on the actual
Correct.
base. Okay.
Correct. So great point, Evan. So if you connect it to a dumb device, there are buttons on the MagniLink S, and that's what you would use to control it, right? You would use, there's bigger, smaller, contrast, there's maybe some masking, brightness, those sorts of things. So let me use my technology to show you. I'll hold it up to the camera, but then I'm going to put it under the MagniLink One in case there's any visually impaired people that watch this later. So this is the MagniLink Mini. So the MagniLink Mini, you can see it's just a smaller device, right? It is the same camera, which is a very, very powerful camera. So same camera, but just on a tripod, and the tripod can connect power and the USB-C connection, that comes from right out of the camera, and you just plug it straight into your PC or your iPad. And again, the app is free. So if you have a smartphone already, and if you have an iPad already, you can download the app for free. It's called MagniLink Viewer. MagniLink Viewer app. It's only going to do bigger, smaller, change contrast, those sorts of things when the camera is not plugged in. Let me show you one more excellent thing about this device, and that is it's called OCR. So OCR stands for optical character recognition, and all that is, it's a computer program that operates in a lot of different environments. And for us, for people that help people with vision loss, what it means is a camera can take a picture of print and then turn that into a file on the computer, and from there you can do different things with it. And so for us, what that means is that camera can take a picture of the print and then read it out loud to us, which is really, really great. So if we turn my magnification down a little bit, go back to my normal color setting, and I'm just going to hit my OCR button.
Small, lightweight and powerful. MagniLink Mini is a small, lightweight camera that is foldable and easy to start up. This is ideal for use in class.
So you saw how fast that was.
Yep.
And if people like Ezra and Brady and Evan who have seen this technology, this is unusually fast. And it's because of that, the big brain in the iPad that just makes it really, really fast to capture that and start reading it. You can also, while you're here, change your format a little bit. So for some people, this is going to be easier.
Where the user frequently changes location. Despite its neat format, MagniLink Mini is also very powerful. Use it.
And I have some customers who like one word at a time on the screen, and that's all. Like if you have something like diabetic retinopathy, and you've got all these different spots and weird places in your vision where your vision's not great in that spot and it's okay in that spot, having a lot of words coming in and out of those good and bad spots can be confusing and disorienting, and honestly can cause some people dizziness. Even the movement on something like this can cause people dizziness. So having one word in the middle of the screen just as it's reading is a really, really, really great feature for some people.
It's 10 times optical zoom full HD camera for near, distance, and mirror viewing, connected to a PC or an iPad with just one USB cable.
So that would be the MagniLink S. And the MagniLink S, this one is $3,995, the MagniLink S. The MagniLink Mini is $2,795. Okay.
And I think you mentioned this previously when we talked before. Just because I heard it spoken right there, one USB cable. It's USB-C. Is that correct?
It is USB-C. Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
If you're going into a dumb device like a monitor or something, and kind of HDMI adapter, will that carry the video signal, or is it
that's a great question. So on the back, so if we're using the MagniLink S, not the MagniLink Mini, the MagniLink S on the back has your different ports, right? So you would, when this is connected with an iPad, a computer, a MacBook, it's drawing power from that device. When you are connected to a dumb device, now you need power. So you would use the USB-C, and we have a charging, like a brick that you can plug that into that will plug into your wall. And then you would do HDMI. The final port, this one, for some users, and we see this a lot in more of a vocational rehabilitation setting, some people will end up getting a docking station. So if you get a docking station with this device, then this is going to allow you to plug in a hand controller because your controls are covered up, right? So that's what that would be. So the only time you're going to need more than one cable, that USB-C cable, the one time would be if you're connecting to a monitor, to a dumb device. Yeah. So we've looked at magnification only. We've looked at magnification and some voice text-to-speech output, some AI capability. Now what I want to show you are devices for people that have lost a lot of vision. So if you can imagine, let's go back to the MagniLink One for a minute. If you can imagine needing very, 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 very high levels of magnification, right? So if you can imagine trying to read something with super high levels of magnification, it's just not very efficient. It's going to take a long time. The more magnification you need, even if you can still see letters, if you can only see 2 or 3 letters at a time on a device like this, then maybe it's time to move to something that's reading things out loud to you. So I'm going to show you a couple of different devices that will do that. This first one, this is called the MagniLink Voice. And so the MagniLink Voice, you can, I'm going to try to position, it's got a light on it, it's going to kind of get in the camera a little bit. So the MagniLink Voice, you can actually just take, I'm holding a book, holding one of my favorite childhood books, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So we can actually put that book down under the device. And it has a hand controller I'm holding up, and the hand controller has 6 buttons. Really, you're only going to use 3 of them very often. And the square one is the one that we would push to capture the image. So you hear it thinking. And it's taking a long time to think.
Does direction matter on that? Can it do it upside down or?
Here we go, cried Mr. Wonka, and he pressed 3 different buttons on the side of the machine. A second later, a mighty rumbling sound came from inside it, and the whole machine began to shake most frighteningly, and steam began hissing out of it.
So let's see, let's try it. So I put it right side up. Let's put it upside down and see what it says. Thinking really hard. This to me is a great example of how fast the OCR is on the iPad device.
Right.
It's instant. So what I think you're going to hear is the text is upside down. So it's going to give you that information. Still thinking about it.
No text in the document.
So no text in the document.
Didn't recognize it. Yeah.
Some devices are going to tell you the text is upside down. I mean, I think you might see that in Seeing AI, KNFB Reader, some of the other devices. I think they're programmed to recognize when it's upside down. So the MagniLink Voice, this device scans the image, captures that text, and then reads it out loud to you. But it can also connect to a monitor. So if this connects to a monitor, then what you're going to see this kind of output on the monitor. You're not going to see a live picture. This little bitty camera is really not intended. It's not like a powerful 10x optical zoom, really, really good camera. But it will, connected to the monitor, give you that digital output. And for some people, that's really, it's just a great feature. Especially like if you consider that you can magnify.
Open the app to
Magnify it up really big like that.
Get access to all the features that come within the software.
So you would get the same type of visual output if you connected this to a monitor. This one you can do what's called bulk scanning. So if you don't want your Charlie and the Chocolate Factory chapter 1 interrupted, you can scan the chapter, so one page after another, and then have continuous reading. You can also take a USB drive and with a book on there from any number of services, you can connect, download your book onto the MagniLink Voice, and it will read it out loud to you. It does
And
have
does the controller there have some kind of file browser navigation on it then?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So the device comes with, as many of these do, with a basic mode and an advanced mode. So in basic mode,
Volume 100.
basic mode, you're really only going to be doing some navigation, a little bit of editing and navigation, things like that. But when you get into the advanced mode, there's lots of things you can do as far as file navigation, presentation of how things look on the screen, those sorts of things. Most often people are using this device in basic mode.
Okay.
Push
What's
the
MSRP
button.
on that?
Yep, you push the button, the orange button, it starts reading. You hit the round button and it pauses. You make it faster with one round button, make it slower with that same one, make it louder with the other round button, make it less loud with the other round button.
When
Yep.
you slow the speed, is there any distortion to like that voice itself? Like, does it slow down or speed up like a chipmunk?
Volume 100. 125. 140. 140. 145.
Let's see. Let us see.
While he's thinking, just in that same topic, I noticed his voice is different than the other AI voice.
In the document.
Liar. Oh,
The camera.
there you go. Let's try that again.
Is there any other?
Key thing, have the camera up when you hit the
Yeah.
orange button.
Is there any
That
other
helps.
control of the virtual voice? Any other options like pitch?
You do have some options for other voices.
Okay.
This one you're going to be,
Here we go. INT woke up, and he pressed 3 different buttons on the side of the machine. A second later, a mighty rumbling sound came from inside it, and the whole machine began to shake almost frighteningly, and steam began hissing out of it all over. And then suddenly the watchers noticed that runny stuff was pouring down the insides of the wall, and hundreds of little glass tubes and squirting out into the great tub below.
so when you get into the iOS ecosystem, you've got more options for more natural sounding voices. I mean, you do have alternatives here, but not nearly as many as you're going to have here. So this one, you're going to have a combination of hearing things, pretty easy to use, but you can also plug it into a monitor and then you could see it in the same way that you see it here. The final device that I want to show.
Cheryl, before you go on, what's the MSRP on that device, the viewer? Or the
This
sorry, the
one
voice?
is $23.95.
$395.
Yep. The other thing about this one is it's battery operated and you can carry it around like that.
And it doesn't require internet.
Doesn't require internet. No.
Nice.
Ezra, I'm giving you an assignment. Will you, while I'm showing the lyric, will you find the MSRP for the lyric with and without AI? Because I don't know that off the top of my head. The final device I want to show is actually one of my favorites. This is called the Lyric. The thing I love about the Lyric is its simplicity. It's one of the easiest devices to use. So if you have something that you don't know what it is and you want it to read it to you, this is how easy it is.
Please place your document.
You put your document down there, it starts to read it. You take the document off, it stops. It's very, 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 very easy to use. And again, this device does have tactile buttons on it, so you can navigate, do some basic features, and it also has wireless hand controller that you can use for more advanced functions. But if you think about, you know, we're all different. We all have different skills and abilities. We all have different preferences. For some people, they really just want something that sits on their tabletop that they can figure out what's junk mail and what's not in the easiest way possible. And so this device, of all the ones that I've seen, it's just really, really easy.
Is it plugged in, Cheryl, or is it battery powered?
The MagniLink Mini.
Battery.
Small, lightweight video magnifier with a combined reading. End of text.
Yep.
Please place your document.
So battery power will last a long, long, long time. So this device also comes in with AI. So you can get it without AI or you can get it with AI. If you get it with AI, it's the same idea. So the same idea, you capture your information and then you can have kind of a natural conversation about what the content is in that document. The price points are obviously going to be different. I think one is just above 2,000, one is a little closer to 3,000. Ezra, am I correct?
Hey, put it into the chat there, Cheryl. I don't know if you.
Okay.
Yeah, I put it in the chat so you could just, you know, read it. But the base model is 2,095. The version that has the AI assistive speech, text to speech is closer to 3,000.
Right. And so from my point of view, this gives you a wide array of options and they're all at pretty good price points. Use simple magnification with something you already may have or get. And then mostly text to speech, but with some video out, some visual output. And then this one, just OCR. I think you probably can connect this one to a monitor also, but that's, you don't see that very often. To me, that we're starting to see so many devices with AI is really exciting. And that's where I think enabling technology solutions, y'all are going to be really, really, really helpful for people who get, whether it's an app on your phone or any of these devices that have AI. The whole idea with learning to use AI well is almost like the same way we all had to learn how to use Siri and Alexa well. You have to learn how to say the right prompts. It's not quite as fussy as Alexa and Siri because they were looking for oftentimes exact commands. So this is more natural speech, but the better you can learn how to ask good questions, the better information you're going to get out of it. So I think they call it prompts. The better prompts you can give AI, the more you're going to be able to take from it. And this is just, I think this is going to be pretty common in a lot of these devices. So with this one, let's see, let me plug it back in and do it on it too. So this device, when you are using AI, you can, if you've got, let's see, let me put something under there. Well, my camera was unplugged, but let me explain it to you. See, it's not going to, you aren't going to get all the features that you would when the camera's unplugged. But when I engage the AI engine with the MagniLink S or the MagniLink Mini in that app, in the settings, it has a plus. So you can start a new conversation. So let's say, let's go back to my example with my utility bill. So I asked it the information on my utility bill, and then I learned what I needed to learn. But now that I'm in that environment, if I hit that plus button, well, now I can ask all sorts of questions. I can ask, you know, what's the weather going to be like in Chattanooga this week? What's the highest rainfall Tennessee's ever had? What's the history of the Trail of Tears? How many locations do signal centers have? Just any curiosity you have, you can ask AI. And I mean, we all are kind of getting used to the idea that AI is great. It's not perfect. So you do have to take some of the information that you get with a grain of salt and just understand that it's, I mean, as we aren't perfect, AI is not perfect. But it's a very, very useful tool just across the board when it comes to these products for people with vision loss. So those are the devices I wanted to show today, just to kind of give people an idea. There are different ways to access print. And I know some questions are, well, if you can get a handheld magnifier, why would you get a handheld? Why would you get one of these if you can just get a handheld magnifier? Well, there are a few reasons, and Ezra alluded to a couple of these. So one reason would be the disorders that we talked about: macular degeneration, diabetic retinopathy, glaucoma. All of these have some potential for progression. In other words, today you might have 2100 vision and be able to use a 3x magnifier and see what you want to see. Your vision may change. This rides with the changes a lot more than the optical magnifiers do. So that would be reason number one. Reason number two is, as we talked about, contrast. You can improve contrast with good lighting. So that does help. And that's why you're going to see some optical magnifiers have lights with them. However, you're not going to achieve the same type of profound contrast shift as you can with digital devices, and being able to turn a background completely black and have popping white letters. That makes as much of, if not more of a difference for a lot of people. Most of these eye conditions, especially when they involve the retina, they really change an individual's relationship with light. So glare is a big problem, so you need to control the glare, but contrast, it's an actual diagnosis. So contrast sensitivity loss is an actual diagnosis, and virtually everybody who has any involvement with their retina is going to have contrast sensitivity issues. For some people, we've seen over the years, it's not even their acuity. They may have 20/40, 20/50, but they are functionally very, very impaired because of the contrast issue. If you just even think about the things we've looked at today, like the contrast on that's terrible contrast. That's really, really hard for people to see. Even on the bill, like if you think about the different colors of print that you have on the bill. Some of it's black and white, some of it's blue. It's not really, really easy for a lot of people to see. So your ability to digitally change the contrast is profound. The third reason would be is because magnification is based on something I have very little understanding of, physics. And so with physics, you've got some properties of magnification that are complicated. And that is when your vision goes down and you need more magnification, the window that you get to look through gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And you have to hold it closer and closer and closer. Having a larger screen mitigates or kind of makes it so that issue is not as difficult. If you get up above, say, a 4x magnifier, well, instead of looking through something this big, now you're looking through something this big. And if you get to a point where you need 10x magnification, well, now you're looking through something the size of a $50 right up on your nose, and it's difficult. So those are some reasons why the technology side, it's advanced technology, but it's simple to use, and it helps to mitigate some of the factors of optical magnification.
Awesome. I think let's fire off some questions for Cheryl. Cheryl, thank you so much. That was an awesome presentation on the 4 different devices and the freebie there with the app. I'm gonna go ahead and download that app myself and just see what you can do. I realize I don't have the camera that it's designed for, but just to play with it a little bit. And whenever we can give the people we serve some tools to work with, that's a benefit for them. So I did have a question about so all these devices, I'm happy to see they're all within the budget for the folks we serve on an annual basis. So that's good. All these devices are available to them. One of the questions I would have is about kind of the ongoing support. So especially when we talk about artificial intelligence, AI, things change quick. And so is there support or updates that are coming or that are provided for these devices?
Of course. So I'll say two things about that. Number one, Mountain View Low Vision, I don't pick devices to sell unless I know the level of support with the manufacturer and behind that. So absolutely, there's support available. The second thing I'll say about that is, I mentioned this before we started recording. So today I'm the president of Mountain View Low Vision Services. I am also onboarding as the director of national sales for these products, except for the lyric for these products. And so my biggest commitment to the market is support. And so even now we're developing tools for end users to be able to easily access to make sure that they can stay up to date with these devices. And then the final thing I'll say is it's a partnership with you guys too. So you guys are going to have like the most direct connection with your clients and your customers. And so we are here to support you as you support your clients and your customers. So one way or another, yes, we will make sure that people have access to the information and the support they need.
Wonderful. Any questions, guys, or I'll keep firing if not. All right. So one of the things that I've seen benefit individuals is having access to a device to see how it works for them. You've mentioned Signal Center several times in this presentation. Do they have any of these devices that are available for short-term loans in order to get people familiar with the device?
They have something similar to the One. They have a device called the MagniLink Zip. The MagniLink Zip is a sister product to the MagniLink One. I believe the MagniLink Zip that they have is Ezra, do you remember, it was a 13-inch or a 17-inch screen?
I believe it's the 13.
So they have a device similar to the One that would give people an idea of what it would be like to use something like this. The MagniLink S, I think Signal Centers also has a MagniLink S. I'm not sure. It's a little older, so it may not be one that could connect to an iPad. I can check with Signal Centers about that. And that may be something I would be willing to partner with Signal Centers to get that one updated so that it could connect to an iPad and show that functionality. It would definitely connect to a monitor, to a dumb device, and be able to showcase what it does. The MagniLink Voice, Signal Centers had an older version of the MagniLink Voice at some point. I don't think they have that one anymore. And then the Lyric, I'm not sure if they have the Lyric.
Okay.
They do not have the Lyric. So I do have a showroom in Chattanooga, and while I don't have a loaner library of devices, I don't mind at all. It's by appointment only, and I don't mind at all if people wanted to come by for an extended period of time and bring their materials that they wanted to look at and experience and see if what they have at home would actually be accessible through any of these products. So that's also an alternative.
Excellent. It's a great point that you've got an opportunity for them to come see the equipment as well. So that's great. Any other questions, guys?
Not for me.
All right, well, Cheryl, I want to say thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time and presenting these items. Like I said, I think because these fit in the budget for folks, and we've all had conversations and come to an agreement on how important this kind of stuff is for individuals, and they might not even know, right? Like sometimes, I think my dad said he didn't know he needed glasses until he put glasses on, right? Sometimes you don't know you need the magnification until you've got a item that magnifies something, and you can like it opens up your world to what the benefit of that can be. So giving people independence, not having to have them wait for their son or daughter to stop by to read their bills to them. That's a lot of autonomy and independence that some folks aren't enjoying right now. So appreciate you coming on and sharing those devices. And then yeah, like Cheryl said, she's got Mountain View Low Vision that she's affiliated with, that they've got support. Evan, Ezra, and I work for Enabling Technology Solutions. So if you've got questions about these devices or other devices, please reach out to us. Cheryl, do you want to mention any ways people can contact you?
Sure. People can contact me at my email address, which is Cheryl, CHERYL, at mvlvs.com, or you can call Mountain View Low Vision at 423-763-7118. I also have a website, and on that website, there's a contact form. So the website is mvlvs.com. And those letters, it's a little complicated with those letters. If you think about the first letter of every word in the title of my business, Mountain View Low Vision Services, MVLVS. So mvlvs.com is my website.
I'll put those links in the show notes too, just to help people have an easier way to access that. Just a little teaser for the next Tech Talk. So we're going to talk about accessibility features for the devices you already own. So we're talking about phones, tablets, anything that you might already own that you don't recognize already has accessibility features. We're going to give you some tips and tricks and answer your questions about how to utilize those devices to better suit you and serve you and give you more independence. So hope to see you in a couple weeks. And without that, have a great day and see y'all later. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl.